Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Konoha. The entire ninja world is my resurrection coin. Chapter 41. After completing the S-level mission, the four Orochimaru strolled leisurely through the streets of the Land of Rain, enjoying the temporary rest. It was in sharp contrast to the dignified or sad expressions on the faces of the surrounding Rain country people. Perennial wars have brought too much suffering to this country. As if infected by the continuous heavy rains in the Land of Rain, the scattered pedestrians walked in a hurry, their clothes were torn, their bodies were thin, and their eyes were numb. Although this is not a war zone. Don't let me catch you again. A shop owner threw two children, a boy and a girl, to the ground and scolded them angrily. This movement caught Orochimaru's attention. Following Orochimaru's gaze, Tsunade looked confused. Child, looking at the two children, one orange and one blue, Nanoyu asked. Orochimaru-sama, are you interested in those two children? Orochimaru did not answer no and Tsunade's words, but walked straight in that direction. What did they do? The vendor owner looked at the face of the visitor and the Konoha forehead protector above his head, and couldn't help but take a step back, with a look of fear on his face. This is the ninja of the country that killed Hanzo and destroyed Rain Shinobi Village. It was the culprit that caused the defeat of the entire kingdom of Rain. It is said that they are still their suzerain country now. But with Orochimaru staring at him, the vendor owner didn't dare to run away, so he could only answer with some fear. These two kids ate some bread from my shop, so I chased them away. Orochimaru's golden snake eyes stared at the two children, one orange and one blue. How much money? I paid them back. No need. The shop owner felt a little frightened for no reason. If Ninja-sama wants it, just give it to them. In a room, two children were devouring bread. Thank you for saving us. After finishing the bread, the little blue-haired girl looked at Orochimaru gratefully. There were crumbs in the corners of her mouth from eating in such a hurry. The girl folded a bread wrapper into a beautiful flower and handed it to Orochimaru. Give. This is a thank you gift. It's so beautiful. Orochimaru caught the paper flower with his hand, but his eyes never left Konan and Yahiko. Haven't you met Nagato yet? It is also said that the death of Nagato's parents was caused by a large number of Konoha shinobi who were hungry and broke into houses to plunder food in the context of the war between Konoha and Rain Shinobi. However, his intervention caused the war between Konoha and Rain Shinobi to completely tilt to Konoha's side. The Konoha shinobi possessing the power of the curse seal almost showed a situation of suppressing Rain Shinobi. And he killed Hanzo of the Salamander, which also caused the war to take a different direction than in the original work. Maybe Nagato in this world can live peacefully with his parents for the rest of his life. Then, Orochimaru couldn't help but laugh at his naive idea. The person who was targeted by Uchiha Madara for implanting the Rinnegan, his fate is destined not to be changed so easily. Where are your parents? Tsunade looked confused. Konan lowered his head in frustration, while Yahiko clenched her fists. They were all killed in the war. Orphans of war. A look of sympathy flashed in Tsunade's eyes. Although the war between Konoha and Rain Shinobi was entirely initiated unilaterally by Rain Shinobi, the reason was that Hanzo was dissatisfied that the Land of Rain had become a battlefield for great powers and tried to change the status quo. But Tsunade naturally wouldn't be angry at the orphans in the war. They are innocent. If you are hungry, we can give you some more food. Yahiko's expression kept changing as he looked at the wrapping paper in his hand. Suddenly his eyes became determined and he bent his body in Orochimaru's direction. Please accept us as your disciples. Yahiko saw the vendor owner's odd expression as he faced Orochimaru. That's the fear of power. If I had such power, I could stand at the highest point, become a god-like existence, and end this never-ending war, right? Yahiko thought. Tsunade was stunned by the sudden request for apprenticeship, and she couldn't help but look at Orochimaru. Orochimaru, what are you going to do? Oh, why should we accept you as our disciples? Orochimaru had a playful look on his face. There are more than thousands of little brats like you who have lost your parents in such a chaotic era. You are just an insignificant microcosm of this war-torn era. If every orphan asked us to teach them, we wouldn't be able to control them. And after you gain power and become ninjas, you will only create more orphans who lost their parents in the war. But Yahiko didn't flinch in the face of Orochimaru's questioning. We are different from them. We want to gain power to end this never-ending war and change this chaotic world. Orochimaru looked at Yahiko with a smile. This orange-haired boy is the spiritual sustenance of future Nagato, the absolute core figure in the early days of the entire Akatsuki organization and the foreshadowing of Nagato's tragedy. In his body, Orochimaru seemed to see the figure of Jiraiya's disciple in the future. But compared to Naruto, who lived in peacetime, Yahiko, who had suffered from hunger and war, had truly faced the chaos and turmoil of the ninja world. Moreover, he was able to build an organization from scratch in the Land of Rain that was strong enough to compete with Hanzo. Compared to Naruto, who was more based on fantasy and empty talk, Yahiko undoubtedly showed a more rational light besides idealism. Orochimaru paused. Hearing this, Konan and Yahiko showed happy expressions on their faces. But I am a ninja from Konoha. It is impossible for me to stay in the Land of Rain and teach you ninjutsu. If you really want to learn, just follow me to Konoha. Although Konoha is also at war, it is not a problem to ensure the basic life of the orphans. Orochimaru is a rational person. Even if he has memories of his past life, he cannot do things like Jiraiya, who is a military general but leaves the battlefield during the war to teach children from other countries. Konan had a look of excitement on his face. To her, what happened to the Rain country was not a very important thing. In the entire Rain country, the only friend she cares about is Yahiko. Her parents are dead, and without any survival skills, she and Yahiko have been living by stealing in the Land of Rain. Occasionally, if caught, he would be severely beaten. There are only sad past and painful memories here. But Yahiko, who took the initiative to become a disciple, had a troubled look on his face. If you want to leave the country of Rain, then forget it. I'll look for other ninjas. Just take Konan away. Konan had a puzzled look on his face. Why don't you go together? Yahiko clenched his fists, and a firm will appeared in his eyes. I can't leave the country of Rain yet. There are countless orphans like us in this country who are hungry and suffering. I want to try to use my own power to change things starting from this country. Hearing Yahiko's words, Konan shouted anxiously. In that case, I won't leave either. But Yahiko stopped Konan's words. Listen, Konan. You go follow these ninjas. And I went to find other ways. In 5 or 10 years, we will each learn our own skills and then meet again here. If I don't find a second teacher by then, you will teach me ninjutsu. Then let's change this cursed world together. The boy and girl made a promise to meet again under the witness of Orochimaru. At this time, they naively thought that everything would be as they expected. They didn't know that they, who had nothing at this time, were already being watched by countless pairs of eyes. He also didn't find the tiny white snake that got into Yahiko's clothes. At the same time, in a corner of the Rain Kingdom battlefield, 2 ninjas wearing Rain Shinobi ninja forehead protectors roughly kicked open the door of a house. The war brought great suffering to the world, and many ninjas and residents were on the verge of starvation. These 2 Rain Shinobi ninjas are one of them. Their troops were completely wiped out in the war with Konoha, and they even heard that their leader Hanzo was killed by the Konoha shinobi on the road, and Rain Shinobi village was completely destroyed. They managed to escape, but their long run left them mentally and physically tortured. So, they decided to enter a house in the war zone to rob food. Although they didn't know why, their instinct told them that there was food in this place. Is there anyone? Kill them. As 2 kunai pierced the air, the 2 figures fell to the ground clutching their chests. The light in the red-haired mother's eyes gradually dissipated, but she still used her last strength to shout behind her. Run, Nagato! But Nagato, who was extremely frightened, did not dare to move. He just fell to the ground weakly, trembling all over. The helplessness of his parents' death, the hatred of the ninja who killed his parents, and the fear of facing death. These emotions crazily impacted Nagato's weak and fragile mind. Ah! Nagato suddenly yelled like crazy, with ripples in his eyes. Fire Nation, Konoha Village. Konoha Shinobi defeated Rain Shinobi on the front line, ending the war between Konoha and Rain Shinobi in the Second Ninja War, and Guy returned. The leader is, of course, Orochimaru, who serves as the battlefield commander. Standing next to him were the 2 deputies, Jiraiya and Tsunade. There are also Uchiha Makoto, Nanoyu and Konan who are also around Orochimaru. So good. Konan next to Orochimaru looked at Konoha, which was still prosperous even in the midst of war, with an envious look on his face. This is a scene that is absolutely impossible to see in the land of rain. Countless people cheered for the victory of the war and welcomed the Konoha shinobi who brought them victory. Lord Orochimaru! Lord Orochimaru! Lord Orochimaru! They looked feverishly at Orochimaru, who was at the front of the Konoha team. It was this adult who gave the Konoha shinobi the power of the curse seal, giving their relatives and friends an extra chance of survival when facing the ninjas of Rain Shinobi Village Sunagaku. It was he who single-handedly annihilated the Kong ninja village, relieved Konoha's dilemma of fighting on two fronts, and further expanded the Land of Fire. It was he who defeated Hanzo of the Salamander and signed a peace treaty with the Rain country, ending the long-running war. At this time, Orochimaru was wearing a Konoha Jonin vest and a Konoha forehead protector. Even the cold gaze that he usually kept away from strangers was not as scary as before. Countless girls looked at Orochimaru lovingly. But when Tsunade saw this scene, he snorted dissatisfied, then swaggeringly took Orochimaru's arm and pressed his whole body against Orochimaru's body, as if to declare his sovereignty. Orochimaru glanced at Tsunade, but didn't care about her behavior. Only Jiraiya saw this scene inadvertently and felt that something in his heart suddenly broke. Konoha has been the #1 ninja village since the founding of the first Hokage. No matter Rain Shinobi or Sand Shinobi, they can never be Konoha's opponent. What has always maintained the balance of the ninja world war is that other forces have joined forces to declare war on Konoha. During the Second Ninja War, the villages currently having large-scale wars with Konoha include Sand Shinobi and Rain Shinobi. Of course, in the Land of Rain, Konoha and Rock Shinobi also had small-scale conflicts, but the two sides were far from a full-scale war. As for the Kong ninja village, this small country that overestimates its capabilities can be destroyed with one hand after Konoha frees up its troops. Rain Shinobi and Sand Shinobi are the key to determining the direction of this war. Although the Kingdom of Rain is not among the 5 major countries, its real power is by no means inferior to that of the major countries. Especially with a strong man like demigod Hanzo, no matter which side is currently in the Kingdom of Rain, they have to pay attention to the existence of this opponent. Now with the death of Hanzo, Rain Shinobi village has been completely destroyed, and the war on this side has naturally come to an end. And after liberating Rain Shinobi's battlefield forces and gathering the power of the entire Konoha, Sand Shinobi's victory is only a matter of time. Orochimaru and others who led Konoha to this victory naturally became heroes in the eyes of everyone. Listening to the people's praise, Jiraiya couldn't help but feel a little elated. Let's go find the old man and report the good news, Jiraiya suggested. I want to go to you, I don't want to see that old guy. I did not join the great ninja war for Sarutobi Hiruzen's orders. Tsunade frowned, then refused without hesitation. With that said, she took Orochimaru's hand. Orochimaru, let's go visit Kushina. I wonder if she was bullied when she stayed alone in the village. The conflict between Tsunade and Sarutobi Hiruzen stems from Naoki's death. Her investigation into the truth about Naoki's death has never stopped, and she has repeatedly studied the conditions at the scene of Naoki's death. Orochimaru's eyes flickered slightly. Danzo wants to kill Naoki for his ambition to become the 4th Hokage. The purpose is to let Naoki die on the battlefield as a disciple of Orochimaru, so that Orochimaru will lose the help of the Senju clan and improve his chances of becoming a Hokage. In such a chaotic battlefield, it is impossible for even a ninja like Orochimaru to keep an eye on Naoki, let alone an internal enemy. Tsunade's knowledge only goes so far. She knew that Danzo was involved in Naoki's death and that Sarutobi Hiruzen was shielding Danzo. As a result, she became estranged from her teacher, Sarutobi Hiruzen, and was no longer willing to talk to Sarutobi Hiruzen. But she didn't know the deeper content, such as Orochimaru's deal with Danzo. Another example is the role played by Sarutobi Hiruzen in this incident. For example, Naoki's death was actually with the tacit approval of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Orochimaru smiled slightly and said to Jiraiya in his hoarse voice, "That's good. Teacher Sarutobi has already known about such important news as the victory of the war. Jiraiya, you can report the specific details alone." Tsunade and Orochimaru used the body flicker technique and took Konan, Makoto, and Nanoyu away, leaving Jiraiya standing there stupidly. I don't know why Jiraiya suddenly feels excluded. It's obviously a movie made by 3 people, but I still don't deserve to have a name. Tsunade's sister. Seeing Tsunade come back, a girl of 13 or 14 looked surprised. She has long, beautiful red hair with a hairpin on the left side of her bun. Uzumaki Kushina. Tomatoes from Ninja School, blood red peppers from Konoha, and now 9 Tails Jinchuriki. She was born with a powerful chakra that could seal 9 tails, so she was brought to Konoha by people sent by the 3rd Hokage. Kushina became 9 Tails Jinchuriki after the death of Uzumaki Mito 5 years ago. Now 13 years old, Kushina has obtained the title of Genin, but she is not allowed to leave Konoha with 9 tails sealed, and of course there is no possibility of being promoted to Chunin. On the one hand, this is to protect Jinchuriki from the prying eyes of other ninja villages, and on the other hand, it is naturally for surveillance purposes. After all, while for beings like Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, 9 tails is a casual pet, but for others, this strongest-tailed beast is a moving natural disaster. The 8 tails, which caused destruction again and again in the Land of Thunder, is proof of this fact. Nowadays, various countries have gradually studied the power of tailed beasts and begun to use Jinchuriki into war. Every ninja who has seen the terrifying power will shudder. Orochimaru would never have been able to approach her easily unless he had the dual identities of 3rd Hokage's apprentice and Tsunade's lover. Of course Orochimaru has his own plans when approaching Kushina. He has acquired the unique sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan, and he also takes away a few of Kushina's lost red hair every time they meet. Although Kushina blushed like a cooked tomato after learning about this, she didn't say anything. And not only Kushina herself, who is from the Uzumaki clan, but also the identity of 9 Tails Jinchuriki moved his heart. He is not someone who can act purely for so-called friendship and sympathy. It's like just sitting back and watching Danzo kill Nawaki for profit. What he regrets is that the good blood was wasted by the waste who can't adapt to the ninja world. It was impossible for him to have any feelings for his subordinates who had only been together for a few days. Kushina and Orochimaru, who have been together for several years, have reluctantly developed some affection, but that is only something that can be sacrificed in the face of Orochimaru's interests. Orochimaru looked at Kushina's unique red hair of the Uzumaki clan, a greedy look flashed in his eyes, and his tongue unconsciously licked the corner of his mouth. It's so beautiful, that red hair. This is the descendant of Otsutsuki, the symbol of the Uzumaki clan, and the outward manifestation of the strong vitality of this clan. Represents the yang force of the Sage of 6 Paths. Kushina blushed slightly when she heard Orochimaru's compliment. Thanks. Unlike that blonde-haired sissy, she knew that the ninja in front of her was famous even in the entire ninja world. The same compliment naturally has different effects on different people. Furthermore, she has a natural affinity for Orochimaru, who once rescued her from the war-torn Uzushio village and gave her the power of revenge. Orochimaru saved her life. It is the object of admiration and admiration for young girls in Waichun. Tsunade couldn't help laughing at Kushina's shy expression. You stay here. Even Kushina, who is not afraid of anything, becomes a little cautious. Let's leave space to young people. I just got some money from the daimyo of Rain Country. Orochimaru, let's go to Konoha's casino to gamble. Tsunade, I'm not interested in gambling. I still have my own research work. Stop staying in the laboratory all the time. If you stay any longer, you will become a lonely guy like Grandpa Tobarama. It's hard to have 2 days of free time without any tasks, so just stay with me for once today. What's the big deal? If you win, we get some bonus. When Tsunade forcibly pulled Orochimaru towards the casino, only 3 girls, Nunoyu, Makoto and Konan, were still accompanying Kushina. Kushina then let go of her previous restraint. Sister Makoto, tell me the story of Orochimaru senpai again. Okay. Makoto smiled softly and sat down next to Kushina. Listening to Makoto's story, a happy look appeared on Kushina's face. Although I am in a foreign country, I am ostracized everywhere as an outsider, and I still have to endure the presence of the big fox inside me. But with seniors like Tsunade-san and Orochimaru, Makoto who treats her gently like a big sister, and friends of the same age like Nono, Kushina feels like something is filling her body. This is probably what Grandma Mito meant by love, right? Kushina touched the black 3 Magatama curse seal on her neck and thought like this. On the other side, listening to Makoto's story, Conan also had a look of longing on his face. Orochimaru-sama is truly a remarkable being. I really want to become a great ninja like him. At the same time, there was an underground base in Konoha. A man with a gloomy face sat in his seat, his right eye and right hand bandaged. Shimura Danzo, leader of the Darkness of Konoha, root organization. Now that he has been transplanted with the Hashirama cells prepared by Orochimaru, he has mastered the wood style and is confident that he has surpassed Sarutobi, and he once again has the desire for the position of Hokage. Is the information true? Lord Danzo, our intelligence department learned from the civilians of the Rain Country that there is indeed a child with special eyes. But I'm not sure if that's the legendary Rinnegan. Danzo's eyes darkened slightly. It doesn't matter. It will be clear when we bring him back. Yes. Watching his subordinates leave one after another, Danzo covered his right eye with his hand. Rinnegan. What kind of power does this legendary eye, which is more advanced than Sharingan and Byakugan, contain? Danzo looked into the darkness in the distance. He seemed to have seen the battle between Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama in the past. Even Mangekyo is so terrifying. Rinnegan is known as the leader of the three major pupil arts. Danzo felt an emotion called ambition growing in his heart. If you get this power, neither Hatake Tsukumo, Orochimaru, or even Sarutobi will be able to compare with me anymore, right? I am determined to win the position of 4th Hokage. Experimental data 01100. Name, Orochimaru. Gender, male. Age, 27, born in Konoha on October 27, 2013. Height, 179.4 centimeters. Weight, 63.9 kilograms. Blood type, B. Eye technique, none. Constitution, Sage body 10%. Chakra attributes, fire, water, wind, earth, thunder. Ninjutsu, 320 based on the entry-level ninjutsu attainment of the 5 shadows as a base value of 100. Physical skills, 240 based on the entry-level physical skills of the 5 shadows as a base value of 100. Illusion, 200 based on the 5 shadows entry-level illusion skills as a base value of 100. Chakra, 280 based on the amount of chakra at the entry level of the 5 shadows as the base value of 100. Currently holding blood inheritance limit, wood style, Sharingan. Other abilities, lightning style armor, sage mode, impure world reincarnation, regeneration. Summoning contract, Ryachi cave. Strength judgment, cage level peak, super cage level. An underground base somewhere in Konoha. Makoto put on Orochimaru's clothes skillfully, and Nanoyu handed Orochimaru the experimental report this time. After a casual glance, Orochimaru silently used fire style to turn the experimental report in his hand into ashes. During the war, he didn't have much energy for research, and his strength didn't increase much compared to before. It's probably just an increase in strength from 5 Jiraiya to 6 Jiraiya. After all, that idiot is not standing still. He is not a ninja like Naruto Sasuke who is full of cheats and can explode on the spot. As a civilian ninja who doesn't even have a last name, he only relies on his own research to improve his strength. Orochimaru walked to several petri dishes. In each petri dish, there was a boy who was exactly similar to Orochimaru, but much younger in age. The label on the petri dish facing Orochimaru reads, Wood Style Experimental Subject Number 99. These are naturally clones of Orochimaru, empty shells without souls. It is impossible for Orochimaru to directly inject Hashirama cells or transplant Sharingan into his own body. In his opinion, that is a risky and foolish approach. The clones of Orochimaru in front of us are exactly how Orochimaru can use wood style, Sharingan, and even all other bloodline limitations without transplantation. For example, this, Akimaru wood style experimental subject number 99, is the only one among the hundreds of wood-style experimental subjects that Orochimaru currently has that satisfies him. Just by using the ability of transferring shadows, in Sage mode, Orochimaru himself can also obtain the same level of wood style as this experimental subject. Sage Art, Legend of Distance and Distant Shadow. This technique is the method used by the original Yakushi Kabuto to use the abilities of the 5 sound ninjas in Sage mode. The original condition for its use is that the person's cells need to be transplanted, but these individuals who are originally clones of Orochimaru cells naturally do not need such trouble. They are not connected as a whole. As long as various cells are transplanted into Akimaru, and connected through the teleportation distance, in theory, Orochimaru can use all the techniques in the world. He even has 11 Little Snake Maru clones with 3 Tomo Sharingan in their eye sockets. Each of them can use Izanagi for themselves, which means that in order to kill Orochimaru, he must be killed 22 times in a row. Did you bring what I asked for? Hearing this, Makoto took out a container from the storage scroll. There are several red eyeballs lying quietly in the green liquid. Lord Orochimaru, this is the Sharingan collected during this war. There's a pair of 3 Tomo Sharingan in there. You did very well. Orochimaru stroked Makoto's hair. In this way, he would have new resurrection coins to use, and he would be one step closer to the immortality he envisioned. Of course, his immortality does not just rely on Izanagi. If Sage of Six Paths suddenly popped out of the underworld, he could consume all of his resurrection coins at will. In Orochimaru's opinion, such immortality is not safe at all. Orochimaru looked at the 3 Magatama-shaped curse seal of heaven on Makoto's neck. The bodies of Makoto and Nanoyu have already been transformed by Orochimaru into vessels suitable for their own reincarnation by injecting their own cells and chakra. If he dies, he can be resurrected directly from Makoto's curse seal at any time, or he can seize their bodies and use them directly for himself. In the past 5 years, Makoto and Nanoyu have long been willing to dedicate everything to Orochimaru and regard themselves as the value and meaning of life. Even the research on the curse seal was further improved by Orochimaru with the help of Nanoyu. If they knew that their bodies could be used by Orochimaru, they would gladly give their lives. However, there are some loopholes in relying on the reincarnation of the soul. Orochimaru's golden pupils revealed an inexplicable light. What is the status of the other wood-style experimental subjects? Nanoyu flipped through an experimental report with the words, wood-style, written on it. Among the new batch of 100 clones transplanted with Senju Hashirama cells, only 3 have awakened wood-style, 20 have no abnormality, and the rest have all died. But even the power of the successful wood-style is still very low. At the same chakra consumption, it is only about 1/20th of the power of Master Orochimaru's No. 99 clone ninjutsu. Combined with the analysis of previous successful products, I think the success rate of wood-style's awakening may be related to the strength of the yang escape chakra. Every clone that successfully awakens the wood-style blood inheritance boundary shows a higher degree of affinity for the yang chakra. But it's not yet certain whether adding yang escape chakra to wood-style can increase the power of wood-style. There is no one among the current experimental subjects who can do this. The experimental mortality rate is related to the physical quality of the sample itself. The success rate of the experimental subjects injected with the Senju clan and Uzumaki clan cells collected by Orochimaru-sama is significantly higher than that of other experimental subjects. If someone like Tsunade-sama were to conduct the experiment, it is expected that the mortality rate would be less than 5%. I analyze that it may be because Senju Hashirama's cells are extremely corrosive. If the physical fitness is not good enough and there is not strong enough chakra suppression, first-generation cells will directly go berserk and assimilate the user into a tree. Nanoyu pushed up his glasses and answered carefully. She is just like Yakushi Kabuto to Orochimaru. As a disciple, she is also the best experimental assistant. Orochimaru looked at the experimental report handed over by Nanoyu and seemed not satisfied with the result. Although he can already use wood-style, his power is only about the same level as Obito, far less than Uchiha Madara, let alone Senju Hashirama himself. He is not a loser like Danzo who is overjoyed to get Yamato-level wood-style. Therefore, the research on wood-style is far from over. Constrained by oneself, there is still no way to reach the realm of first Hokage Senju Hashirama. Orochimaru was lost in thought. He looked at the remaining research reports on the table. The words Impure World Reincarnation and Mangekyo are clearly written on the cover of the report. As for Sharingan and Byakugan, Ultimate's Yang Escape and Ultimate's Yin Escape may be able to achieve a certain degree of balance. We have also tried, but 3 Tomo Sharingan is Master Orochimaru's precious Izanagi material. The experiments conducted with a small number of 3-tomo Sharingan also seem to show that this level of Sharingan is not enough to suppress the first Hokage's cells. And every Byakugan of every ninja in the Hyuga branch house will be directly destroyed by the caged bird after death. As a result, we have not successfully collected the Byakugan so far. There was a disappointed look on Nono's face. She felt like she had betrayed Orochimaru's trust. Do you need Mangekyo? Orochimaru looked in Makoto's direction. What level has your Sharingan reached, Makoto? Lord Orochimaru, I am still 3-tomo Sharingan. Makoto's expression darkened as he did not meet Orochimaru-sama's expectations. I will definitely work hard to awaken Mangekyo Sharingan and become the power of Orochimaru-sama. Haha, this is not your fault, you have worked very hard. There's no need to be so anxious. The wood-style experiment is not something that can be completed in a short while. Orochimaru touched Makoto's black hair and comforted him in a hoarse tone. Makoto's face turned slightly red and he closed his eyes in enjoyment. Besides, if it is just an ordinary Mangekyo, it will have no effect on my strength. But with distinguished heavenly gods and Kamui's abilities, Orochimaru would gouge out Makoto's eyes without hesitation. Orochimaru's eyes flickered, but he just rubbed Makoto's head gently. Although he was confident that Makoto had already been painted with his own color by Orochimaru and became the embodiment of his own will, there were too many unreasonable techniques in this world. Even the ability to rewrite the world's memory at once exists. Orochimaru cannot allow even the people around him to have the ability to threaten him. However, since we can't get the real Mangekyo yet, we have to find another way. Speaking of which, in the current ninja world, Mangekyo is not the only eye technique that can suppress Hashirama cells. Suddenly, Orochimaru felt the fluctuation coming from the barrier. Haha, it seems that they have already achieved results. After Makoto skillfully put on Orochimaru's bathrobe, Orochimaru walked out of the underground laboratory. Boundary removal. Orochimaru opened the door and saw a man with red eyes. It's Konoha's Jonin Yuhi Mahong. He is the Jonin who championed Orochimaru as the fourth Hokage. The interior of Konoha has never been monolithic, and even the Hokage cannot completely satisfy different interest groups and will only tilt more resources towards its own camp. No matter which Hokage succeeds to the throne, he will almost immediately promote his own line of ninjas. Now after Naoki's death, the political struggle within Konoha has intensified. In terms of political stance, there are those who follow the third Hokage, those who follow Orochimaru, those who follow Hatake Tsukumo, neutral fence-sitters, those who want to become Hokage themselves like the Uchiha clan, and even those who choose Danzo. Factional divisions have long since become more complex. Yuhi Makoto looked at Orochimaru, and gently touched the black earth curse seal on her neck with her hand, and took a deep breath. As the Second Ninja World War came to an end, Orochimaru's reputation reached its peak by improving the combat effectiveness of all Konoha shinobi through the curse seal and leading the Rain Shinobi battlefield to victory. The only ones who can compete with Orochimaru now are Hatake Tsukumo, who was known as Konoha's White Fang and was known as Konoha's White Fang, and Tsunade, who created the medical system and first Hokage. Of course, there is also third Hokage's friend Shimura Danzo, the dark ninja who has always shown a strong interest in the position of Hokage. But as a Hokage who has been walking in the darkness all year round, it is difficult for him to be recognized by the people of Konoha village. The three most likely to become Hokage are Orochimaru, Tsunade and Hatake Tsukumo. With Orochimaru and Tsunade's relationship, no matter who of them becomes the fourth Hokage, it's the same. It's just an internal dispute between the couple. Tsunade seemed to show unconditional support for Orochimaru, so Yuhi Mahong chose Orochimaru as his allegiance. As for Hatake Tsukumo, his political skills are too immature. His character is more suited to being a blade rather than a leader who takes charge. Moreover, it is not necessarily a good thing that he is not from the Hokage lineage but has a reputation close to that of the Hokage. Yuhi Mahong's thoughts were interrupted by a hoarse voice. What happened to the news I asked you to spread? The news of the existence of Rinnegan in the Rain Country has reached Danzo. I see, Orochimaru answered calmly, making it impossible to tell whether he was happy or angry. For confidants like Makoto and Nono, Orochimaru doesn't mind showing his gentle side. Orochimaru has always maintained an absolute ruthlessness towards subordinates, like Yuhi Mako. But that's what his fans admire. Because many times, ruthless decision-makers mean reason and fairness. Yuhi Mahong left Orochimaru's residence tremblingly. Orochimaru looked through the window at the Hokage rock in the distance. Although Danzo is not strong enough, he is a good-for-nothing with high ambitions and low abilities. But when used as a blade, it is surprisingly useful. No wonder the teacher was reluctant to kill Danzo until he died in Konoha collapse plan. Orochimaru was consciously looking for Nagato when he was in the Land of Rain. I don't know if it was the influence of Uchiha Madara or other reasons, but he has never seen the child with Rinnegan. After Orochimaru took Konan away, he had a snake lurk around Yahiko and planted a curse seal on it. But Orochimaru's connection with the cursed seal seemed to be blocked by an unknown force at a certain moment. So, he conveyed the information to Danzo through coincidence, and asked Danzo to use the power of his roots to find Nagato for him. As for the blocked curse seal, among the people still alive in this era, that person is probably the only one who can shield his power, right? The legend that still lives on in this era is the one behind the Rinnegan implant in Nagato. Uchiha Madara. When Konoha was founded, Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara were both around 30 years old, so it was during the Second Ninja War and Uchiha Madara was about 70 years old. Whether it is the 69-year-old Sarutobi Hiruzen or the 79-year-old Onoki, they can still perform extremely brilliantly in the original work. At this time, there is no doubt that Uchiha Madara still maintains a very strong combat effectiveness. But age also caused his strength to gradually decay. Otherwise, he alone can push the 5 great ninja villages to gather all the tailed beasts to complete infinite Tsukuyomi. There is no need to go to such trouble to install Rinnegan on Nagato to plan Project Tsuki no Mi. Orochimaru had a ferocious smile on his face. Haha, Uchiha Madara. Has it ever existed alongside Senju Hashirama? It's really interesting. You don't want me to get my hands on the Rinnegan. However, I will not give up the key to the road to eternal life easily. Moreover, you who think you are in control of everything and think highly of yourself are not just a clown who plays in the script written by others. Konoha, Jonin Conference Room. Now Hanzo has died at the hands of Orochimaru-sama. There are only a few defeated soldiers left in Rain Shinobi Village. We still need to deal with threats from Sand Shinobi and Rock Shinobi. But victory is only a matter of time, said a Konoha shinobi with long light blue hair. His name is Kato Dan. Kato Dan, Konoha Jonin, is also Tsunade's lover in the original work. In the original work, after Naoki's death, he walked into Tsunade's heart as the only Jonin who agreed with Tsunade's establishment of a medical department. But in this world, Orochimaru, who has other plans for the Second Ninja War, doesn't mind selling Tsunade a favor on such a trivial matter. Moreover, the development of medical ninjutsu is also an extremely important part of his research. Supporting Tsunade in training medical ninjas has nothing to lose for Orochimaru. There are no redundant ninjas during the war. Wouldn't that be better? Then use the power that belongs to me, and use the power of the curse seal to defeat the enemy. And with Orochimaru's influence and his leadership, Jonin like Yuhi Mahong who wanted to be loyal to Orochimaru naturally supported Tsunade's proposal. As for Kato Dan, the insignificant Jonin, he was naturally regarded as a supporter of Orochimaru by Tsunade, without attracting the slightest attention from Tsunade. Looking at the battle report on the table, everyone's faces showed joy. During the Second Ninja War, Konoha not only fought with Rain Shinobi, but also fought with Sand Shinobi and Rock Shinobi. After Orochimaru eliminated Rain Shinobi, Konoha, which drew out its troops, immediately gained the absolute upper hand in the war with Hidden Sand. As Kato Dan said, the victory of the Second Ninja World War must belong to Konoha. Sand Shinobi's sand secret technique and puppet technique are extremely difficult to deal with. Many of our ninjas have died at their hands. Another Konoha Jonin Mumu Koto said. Fortunately, every ninja team has medical ninjas temporarily trained by Tsunade-sama, and the curse seal given to us by Orochimaru-sama. Although time is tight and they cannot master advanced medical ninjutsu, some simple treatments and emergency measures have greatly reduced the number of casualties on our side. But if we continue to fight, even if we can defeat the Sand Shinobi, we in Konoha will surely suffer losses. A white-haired Jonin suddenly spoke. He is the commander of the Sand Shinobi in this war, Hitaki Tsukumo, and the father of the future captain of Team 7, Kakashi. Countless children have lost their parents during the battle between Konoha Shinobi and Rain Shinobi Village. We cannot allow more tragedies like this to happen. Rain Shinobi Village has been defeated by Orochimaru. As long as we deal with Sand Shinobi as soon as possible, peace can return to Konoha. Hitaki Tsukumo's thoughts undoubtedly touched Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart. He also hoped to end the war as soon as possible, and was even willing to give up some benefits for this. Sarutobi Hiruzen sets his sights on Hitaki Tsukumo. Do you have any idea? Orochimaru also looked at Hitaki Tsukumo with a half-smile. Orochimaru didn't care how many times these Konoha cannon fodder died. In Orochimaru's opinion, if their deaths can lead to victory in the war, then their originally meaningless lives can be considered to have some effect. As for Konoha's weakening, that kind of thing can't happen as long as you stay in Konoha for a day. Hitaki Tsukumo looked directly into Third Hokage's eyes. His expression was unprecedentedly serious, and he spoke word by word. Decapitation plan. As the meeting ended, Konoha's Jonin left. Orochimaru left the conference room. Uchiha Makoto follows closely behind. Uchiha Makoto, who is only 18 years old but is already a Konoha Jonin, is naturally qualified to participate in wartime decision-making. Of course, she rarely expresses an opinion, other than her unconditional support for Orochimaru. On the way, Tsunade said hello to Orochimaru and left. The war is not over yet, and there are still countless wounded waiting for Tsunade to treat. Yakushi followed Tsunade to help. As a supporter of the medical ninja formation plan, Orochimaru set an example by letting Nunoyu in the team learn medical ninjutsu. He even intentionally let Nanoyu come into contact with Tsunade and learn her medical ninjutsu. Nanoyu once reported to Orochimaru, and Tsunade also used her to find out some information about Orochimaru in private. For example, did she secretly date any other female ninja behind her back? Orochimaru just smiled nonchalantly. On the streets of Konoha. Although it is a little deserted compared to peacetime, Konoha, which places the battlefield in other countries, will not be in a state of decline like the Rain country. Orochimaru held Konan's hand, and Tsunade held Orochimaru's other arm slightly awkwardly. Makoto and Nanoyu were carrying large and small bags behind them. Under Orochimaru's arrangement, Konan entered Konoha without almost any resistance. At this time, Konan had already changed out of her patched clothes. She changed into a pure white dress. Can I really wear this? Konan pinched the hem of his clothes with an uneasy expression on his face. As an orphan, she never wore new clothes. Her original dress was given to her by a kind-hearted old lady who belonged to her granddaughter who died in the war. She had been mending it for 3 years. Of course, this dress suits you very well. Orochimaru stroked Konan's blue hair and smiled softly. But it feels like something is missing. As he spoke, Orochimaru took out the white paper flower that Konan had folded for himself from his pocket and carefully pinned it on her head. This way, you will be just like an angel. Konan lowered his head shyly. Once, her only friend in the world was Yahiko. Now there is an extra, teacher. Although his hands were slightly cold, Konan felt an indescribable warmth. Angel. A faint smile appeared on Konan's lips. Then Orochimaru-sama must be my god. Konan couldn't help but hold his hand tighter. Orochimaru, I didn't expect you to be quite good at taking care of children. Your future children will definitely live a happy life, right? Tsunade showed a playful expression. However, she suddenly didn't know what she thought of, and her face turned slightly red. Suddenly, a loud voice interrupted Tsunade's random thoughts. Yo, Tsunade, Orochimaru. A ninja with long white hair came forward with 3 children about 13 or 14 years old. Makoto is also here, and Jiraiya frowned and looked at Konan, making Konan hide behind Orochimaru in fear. Jiraiya scratched his head in embarrassment, but still shamelessly approached Orochimaru. I've been meaning to ask for a long time, who is this little girl with blue hair? Could it be? Jiraiya's face suddenly fell. You two already have such a big child behind my back. Idiot, this is the orphan adopted by Orochimaru in the Land of Rain. A hash mark appeared on Tsunade's forehead, and he couldn't help but punch Jiraiya in the stomach, sending him flying dozens of meters away. Minato and his two friends were trembling with fear. Is this Tsunade-sama's strange power? It's so scary. Haha, she has already restrained her strength. Orochimaru smiled slightly and looked at the blonde-haired boy. Even if you get close, you can feel the warm aura that he naturally exudes. Like a little sun. Namikaze Minato. Are you Jiraiya's former disciple? You also have a very good talent. Are you interested in working for me? It just so happens that there is still one person missing from Makoto and Nono's team. Orochimaru licked the corner of his mouth. Ah, Orochimaru-sama, thank you for your kindness, but I am already Jiraiya-sama's apprentice. Minato smiled shyly. Hey, Orochimaru, you have a disciple as powerful as Makoto, so stop staring at my Minato, right? Seeing Orochimaru approaching Minato, Jiraiya, who was originally lying in the pit, instantly resurrected with full health and appeared next to Minato, looking nervous. Jiraiya, you have a very good disciple. Orochimaru looked away from Minato and gave up on poaching Jiraiya. According to the development of the plot, the current Jiraiya should have stayed in the land of rain to teach the three Nagatos, but it seems that because of his intervention, Jiraiya and Nagato will never meet again. Listening to Orochimaru's compliments, Jiraiya immediately became excited. Of course, Minato is the most talented ninja I have ever seen. Given time, he will definitely surpass your Makoto. But, I still want to have a cuter apprentice like Orochimaru. Jiraiya looked at Makoto, Nono and Konan beside Orochimaru. Both Makoto, who is close to adulthood, and Nanoyu, who is still in bloom, have grown into graceful girls, and Konan's immature beauty is also initially revealed after changing clothes. Jiraiya looked at the three little ghosts next to him. Jiraiya suddenly pulled Orochimaru over and leaned into Orochimaru's ear with a lewd expression. Why do you always find beautiful apprentices, Orochimaru? What's the secret? Teach me. Then he was punched away by Tsunade again. Hee. Orochimaru smiled lightly. Why can't you find a female disciple who doesn't have any points on his own? After the story of Tsunade trying to peek into the female bathhouse and being beaten to a disability by Tsunade spread throughout Konoha, the parents of all female ninjas would specifically go to 3rd Hokage to ask to avoid Jiraiya before they were divided into classes. After losing Konan, the original female disciple, you will not be able to recruit a female disciple even if you recruit 100 more disciples. Let Makoto take Konan home first. Orochimaru had a barbecue with Tsunade and Jiraiya for the first time in a long time. Orochimaru is not a cold-blooded animal. When his own interests are not involved, the most sincere friendship with Tsunade and Jiraiya is one of the few things he cares about in this world. Oh, his friendship with Tsunade is no longer innocent. Orochimaru looked at the brand new 3 Magatama seals on Tsunade's neck and murmured. Lord Orochimaru, you are back. As soon as the door was opened, a girl with blue hair and paper flowers in her hair was waiting respectfully at the door. Konan was wearing a ninja costume and kneeling on the ground, looking obedient. Although there are no surprises with Orochimaru's sentience. But Orochimaru still smiled and patted Konan's head. I'm back. Let's go. I promised to teach you ninjutsu. Orochimaru took Makoto and Konan on the way to Konoha's 3rd training ground. Many ninjas saw Orochimaru and showed respect invariably. Lord Orochimaru. Lord Orochimaru. When they saw Konan next to Orochimaru, he also said hello in a friendly way. Lord Orochimaru, is this your new disciple? Konan hid behind Orochimaru in fear. Konan is now only 7 years old, and because of his past experiences, he is more sensitive and afraid of everything in the outside world than ordinary children. Therefore, they show a fearful attitude towards these strangers. The Konoha shinobi just gave Konan a kind smile. Just kidding, no one dares to disrespect this girl who looks like Lord Orochimaru's new disciple. Although it looks like he is just the age of the ninja school, maybe. When this little girl grows up, she might be the 5th Hokage. As for the 4th generation item, of course it's Orochimaru-sama. Regardless of his training, strength, achievements, and popularity, is there anyone in Konoha who can rival Orochimaru? After arriving at the training ground, Orochimaru waved his hand and a barrier surrounded the training ground. Orochimaru rubbed Konan's blue head. Did you successfully refine the chakra extraction method I taught you before? Konan nodded seriously. She hadn't rested for a moment since Orochimaru had brought her to Konoha. Thanks to this, she has successfully refined chakra. Although there are very few of them now, maybe not even one body replacement technique can be released. Haha, that's a good time to test your chakra properties. Orochimaru took out the chakra test strips he had prepared. Conan placed his hand on the test strip as Orochimaru said. The paper is shredded on one side and soaked on one side. It is the chakra of wind and water attributes. In the rainy environment of the land of rain, it is not surprising that there is a water attribute chakra. The wind attribute should be related to Conan's paper escape talent. Paper escape is not a certain kind of blood inheritance limit, nor is it one of the regular escape techniques. It is more like a secret technique. A secret technique to control the ninja tool, paper. Looking at Conan, who was a little nervous as he had no idea about the result, Orochimaru pondered for a moment. Your current amount of chakra is not enough to support the release of ninjutsu. Now let me teach you some basic ninja killing methods. As for low-level ninjutsu like the three-body technique, you will naturally learn it when you enter the ninja academy after the war. As he spoke, Orochimaru took out several shurikens and threw them at a target. The speed of the shurikens is not consistent. The one behind collides with the shuriken in front, causing its direction to change. After several collisions, they actually hit the target from all directions. Okay, that's awesome. Conan couldn't help but widen his eyes. Such shuriken throwing skills are no different from magic in her eyes. This is basic shuriken throwing. You can have a try. Orochimaru handed several shurikens into Conan's hands. Conan felt a little uncomfortable holding these shurikens. This was her first exposure to ninja weapons. Before, she could only hide in the corner and watch ninjas use these things to kill enemies easily. Am I going to become a ninja too? Conan started throwing shurikens, but don't talk about the throwing skills of the Uchiha clan. She couldn't even hit with ordinary throws. Conan was so anxious that she was sweating profusely. She felt that she was so stupid and had betrayed Orochimaru's trust. Is your physical condition too poor? Orochimaru naturally saw the problem with Conan at a glance. Conan imitated the skills he taught carefully, but she did not have enough strength to throw the shuriken with a certain weight at the target due to lack of nutrition all year round. So Orochimaru stopped Conan's practice, took something out of his sleeve and put it in Conan's hand. Try this. Conan took the thing from Orochimaru's hand with a confused look on his face. Is this paper? It's the paper shuriken I asked you to fold yesterday. But can pieces of paper also be used as weapons? Conan's amber pupils showed a curious look. Certainly. Orochimaru's golden pupils flashed with a smile. Most of the reason why he taught Conan was because of Yahiko and Nagato, and a small part of the reason was naturally paper release. He is the immortal Orochimaru. He wants to learn all the arts in the world and know all the secrets in the world. Paper escape is naturally included in it. Chapter 51. Orochimaru and Conan practiced until sunset at Konoha's training ground. Without the problem of strength, Conan's paper shuriken hit rate is getting higher and higher. She has a talent for paper that ordinary people cannot match. No matter what kind of paper it is, what kind of weight it is, she can adjust her power accordingly to make it fall within the target range. Okay, the shurikens you folded earlier are used up. Let's go here today. You can go back tonight and fold some for later practice. Orochimaru said in a hoarse voice. Conan also happily agreed. She herself somewhat rejects these blood-stained weapons that bring misery to the country of rain, so it would be great if she could use her favorite piece of paper as a substitute. Seeing Conan's happy expression, Orochimaru seemed to be infected and smiled. Then, as a reward for your hard work, let me give you a gift. It might hurt a little though. Orochimaru rubbed Conan's head, and then in Conan's curious eyes, two fangs like lion majesty suddenly protruded from his mouth. Orochimaru bit Conan's neck, leaving 2 deep bite marks. Then the wound gradually disappeared, leaving only a 3 Magatama-shaped mark in its place. The curse seal of heaven. Ah! Conan screamed in sudden pain and passed out. Makoto, take Conan back. Yes. Makoto on the side looked at the Conan that Orochimaru threw at random, with a look of envy in his eyes. It's great to be taught by Orochimaru-sama himself. Moreover, what was planted was not the basic curse seal but the highest level heaven curse seal. In other words, Conan was also chosen by Orochimaru-sama. Makoto was also fortunate enough to be taught ninjutsu by Orochimaru when he first became Orochimaru's subordinate. But it's been a long time since Orochimaru personally guided her. After all, her talent is actually not outstanding in Orochimaru's opinion, and she is just an ordinary genius. If she cannot awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan, it will be very difficult for her to become a true 5-cage level powerhouse. Being unable to actually help Orochimaru made Makoto feel extremely guilty. Lord Orochimaru is a unique and irreplaceable existence to him, the support of his spirit and the destination of his soul. She also wants to become Orochimaru-sama's irreplaceable presence. Tsunade-sama is a strong man who can fight alongside Orochimaru-sama. He is also the granddaughter of the first Hokage and an excellent choice for Orochimaru-sama's companion. Nanoyu has powerful medical ninjutsu, which can be of great help to master Orochimaru's experiments. Kushina is the nine-tails Jinchuriki that Orochimaru takes very seriously. Even Konan, who had just arrived in Konoha, had a talent that could arouse Orochimaru-sama's interest. As a member of the Uchiha clan but unable to awaken Mangekyo, I can only help out as an assistant to Master Orochimaru and no every day, doing some simple things. Makoto, who regards Orochimaru as the meaning of his existence, cannot accept himself like this. Seeing what Makoto was thinking, Orochimaru paused for a moment. Makoto's eye power now far exceeds that of the ordinary 3-tomo Sharingan. In fact, as long as there is enough stimulation, it is not impossible for Makoto to awaken Mangekyo now. But Orochimaru is not the original Orochimaru who was left with a psychological shadow by Sharingan. He admires power, but doesn't want to be its slave. His purpose in studying Sharingan is to master all the truths in the world and become the ultimate person close to Otsutsuki. He was not very willing to inflict psychological trauma on his handy subordinate. Makoto, I have a mission for you. Upon hearing this, Makoto immediately stopped thinking and knelt down on one knee. Lord Orochimaru, I don't know what to order. Whatever Orochimaru-sama wants, I will get it for Orochimaru-sama even if I die. Orochimaru smiled slightly and said in his hoarse voice, I need you to help me kill a person and obtain one of his techniques. A very important technique to me. Orochimaru paused and stared at Makoto with his golden snake eyes. What I want is Kato Dan's spiritualization technique. Orochimaru has seen Konoha's sealing scroll, and his compatibility with this technique is not good. Even with his own genius, he will be able to learn it on his own sooner or later. However, Orochimaru, who is determined to master all ninjutsu, does not want to waste too much time on this jutsu. Even if this technique is really important to me. There is obviously a ninja who has mastered this technique perfectly, so directly seizing his memory and experience is the most convenient and effective method. Moreover, this is also an opportunity for Makoto. Kato Dan should next participate in Tsunagaku's beheading mission and act together with Tsukumo. That's your best chance to take action. Anyone else would have been frightened to hear that they had to face Jonin at the level of Kato Dan and Tsukumo at the same time. This is an almost impossible task for Makoto, who has just reached the level of elite Jonin. But Makoto, who has long regarded Orochimaru as the value of his existence, did not hesitate at all. I will dedicate Kato Dan's body to you, Orochimaru-sama. Hitaki Tsukumo, Kato Dan, and Kaim Koto are flying across the rooftops of the Land of Rain. This time, Lord Third Hokage has allocated the smallest possible number of people for us. The purpose is to avoid alerting the enemy. We have only received the operational mission just now. Even if there are spies, there is absolutely no way they can know our whereabouts. They stopped at a cave. From here you can faintly see the Sand Shinobi camp not far away. Tsukumo looked at his two companions. I'll repeat it again. Use the spiritualization technique to cause chaos in Sand Shinobi's camp. I will look for opportunities to kill the commander of the Sand Shinobi ninja. As for the sword, you stay here to protect Duan's body. The main body of the broken body during the use of the spiritualization technique is almost defenseless. Even Genin can easily kill it. After discovering the enemy, if you can deal with it as soon as possible, try to silence it. If that doesn't work, you must immediately break the interrupted ninjutsu, and then take him and escape immediately. Tsukumo's tone was extremely serious. To him, the mission is important, but the lives of his companions are equally important. He didn't want to cause the death of his companions because of the mission he had worked so hard to convince the Third Hokage to agree to. Don't worry, Tsukumo, it's not like you don't understand me. Even if you risk your life, you won't let anything happen to me. And now that I have Orochimaru's curse seal, I feel like I can fight two Jonin with one person. Mumu Kong Dao grinned. Kato Dan also looked relieved. As teammates for many years, their tacit understanding goes without saying. Now, let me cast the spiritualization technique. Kato Dan sat cross-legged and closed his eyes. Then I'm going to take action too. Tsukumo put on a mask, formed a seal with one hand, and used the body flicker technique to disappear. Sand Shinobi Campground. Night Watch ninjas carrying Sand Shinobi forehead protector meticulously patrol the camp in 2s and 3s. Under their strict patrol, not even a fly can even think of entering here. Suddenly, a blue spirit that no one could see entered the body of one of the ninjas. He covered his head and squatted on the ground, with a painful expression on his face. The companions around him hurriedly stepped forward. What's wrong with you? But the ninja who was squatting on the ground suddenly pulled out the kunai from his waist and stabbed his companion in the heart. Having been stabbed into the heart, Sand Shinobi's eyes widened and he looked at the companion he had been with day and night in disbelief. Yura, you. The movement here quickly attracted the attention of the surrounding Sand Shinobi ninjas. Did Yura betray you? Soon several Sand Shinobi ninjas were tightly surrounding Yuliang. But Yuliang rushed in one direction without fear of death. Wind Blade. A ninja suddenly activated his ninjutsu and attacked Yura. The surrounding ninjas hurriedly grabbed Yura and scattered. What are you doing? When you activate ninjutsu in the camp, do you want to kill your companions? But the ninja still didn't answer, but randomly threw a kunai with a burning detonating talisman on it. Ahem. After Yura was subdued by other Sand Shinobi ninjas, he woke up and looked at the ninja with a look of fear and anxiety on his face. No, that's Konoha's spiritualization technique. Enemy attack. The explosion of the detonating talisman ignited the tranquility of the night, and at the same time there was a sharp whistle. Tsukumo hid behind a building and looked at the fire rising into the sky in the distance, as well as the large number of Sand Shinobi ninjas running in that direction. Did you succeed there? He muttered to himself, then ignored it and looked in a certain direction with a serious expression. Sand Shinobi's headquarters. Elsewhere, Mumu Gongdao was hiding in the dark, waiting for an opportunity to move. Of course, he believed from the bottom of his heart that no one would know about their actions. Only 5 people knew about this S-class mission. After spending many years together, he understood that neither Kato-dan nor Hitaki Tsukumo would leak information to anyone. It can't be Lord 3rd Hokage who is in Konoha or Orochimaru, the former captain of Anbu and the commander-in-chief of the other side of the war, right? Mumu Kongdao was amused by his own idea. This thing is as outrageous as if the Hokage defected to Konoha and Minister Anbu was a spy. Fire-style Great Fireball technique. Just when he was thinking wildly, a voice suddenly interrupted his thoughts. Mumu Kongdao was surprised and rolled over quickly to avoid the attack. A masked ninja appeared in his field of vision. Chidori Sharp Spear. A dazzling spear of lightning suddenly stabbed, and Mumu Gongtu quickly took out a kunai from his ninja bag and injected it into chakra in an attempt to resist. But he suddenly felt dazed. No, it's an illusion. Mumu Kongdao hurriedly activated the curse seal on his neck, trying to use the chakra of the curse seal to dispel the illusion, but there was no response from the curse seal that had always been Mumu Kongdao's trump card. The Chidori Sharp Spear pierced the heart of Mumu Gongdu without any resistance, and the kunai across the chest could not even resist for a moment. In a calculated and unintentional sneak attack, a Jonin from Konoha simply died here. Mumu Gongdao spat out a mouthful of blood. Who are you? How on earth did we get the information we have here? Why, my curse seal has lost its effect. Makoto's eyes widened and he looked at Makoto in shock and anger. Because my curse seal is higher than yours. Makoto replied calmly, and then used the Chidori Sharp Spear to cut the Mumu Koto into 2 halves. Then, she formed a great fireball and completely burned Mumu Gongdao's body to ashes. Although Kato-dan is an elite Jonin, he also has an extremely weird spiritual technique, and his level of difficulty may not be inferior to that of Kakashi who did not fully master Kamui in later generations. But the spiritual technique that established his strength eventually became his burial object. Spiritualization technique's body is in an extremely fragile state when releasing the ninjutsu. A body separated from the soul cannot understand any situation in the outside world. At this time, Kato-dan can easily kill even genin. Makoto easily pierced Kato-dan's body with a ninja sword, and stirred a circle in his heart to ensure that Kato-dan would never die again. In this way, Orochimaru-sama's mission is completed. Makoto took out a scroll from behind his back. She formed a seal with her hands and used the sealing technique to seal Kato-dan's body into it. But suddenly, Makoto felt an extremely strong sense of crisis. She hurriedly cast the body flicker technique and stepped aside. Just after Makoto dodged, a white slash fell from the sky, creating a bottomless ravine. Makoto looked towards the entrance of the cave, and a white figure appeared there at some point. Hitaki Tsukumo looked gloomy. With his far stronger strength than Jiraiya and Tsunade, he can easily defeat the two Puppet Master Commanders Sand Shinobi even in a head-on confrontation. What's more, the assassination was carried out under the cover of Kato-dan. Without the protection of the puppets, those two enemies wouldn't even be considered top tier among elite jonin. Tsukumo found the right moment and used the power given by his companion to kill the two people at the same time almost in an instant. After killing Akasa and his wife, he returned here non-stop, preparing to let Su remove the spiritualized technique away from Sand Shinobi's pursuit. After all, after Sand Shinobi had noticed that it was the spiritualization technique, he sent sentient ninjas to look for Kato-dan around. Although this place is far enough away from Sand Shinobi's camp, it is not foolproof after all. Unexpectedly, as soon as he came back, he saw his companion die at the hands of this masked ninja. Emotions of shock, confusion, anger, and sadness surged into Tsukumo's heart. Who are you? Where did you learn about our plan? Tsukumo's first thought was Sand Shinobi. But when he left, those ninjas were still scurrying around like headless flies. On his way back, he also killed a few sentient ninjas who were lucky enough to find the right direction. Mumu Kodo and Kato-dan. They were now dead at the hands of the ninja in front of them. That only leaves. Cold sweat broke out on Tsukumo's forehead and he forcibly stopped this thought. If the third generation as Hokage wants to kill them, or Orochimaru, who was the former minister of Anbu and the commander-in-chief of the war, is a spy, then our war. No, it might just be some misunderstanding. Tsukumo tried hard to prevent himself from thinking wildly. This kind of thing will become clear once we catch the ninja in front of us. White Fangliu, Swift Wind Slash. The short sword in Tsukumo's hand glowed with white light. Then, in Makoto's wide eyes, Tsukumo's body appeared in front of him like a flash, carrying a white arc light and slashing towards him. Under Makoto's mask, Sharingan turned wildly and leaned back, barely dodging the attack. The sharp sword light only chopped a few strands of her hair. Even though she had pre-read Tsukumo's attack, she was still almost killed with one move. Makoto slapped the ground with one hand and quickly retreated dozens of meters using the reaction force. Tsukumo was slightly surprised. With the physical quality of the woman in front of him, he was confident that he could kill her with one move, but he never thought that Makoto would narrowly avoid his slashing blow. Hitaki Tsukumo is a strong man who is as strong as Orochimaru-sama and is capable of serving as Hokage. Although he cannot be compared to Orochimaru-sama, I am no match for him either. Makoto whispered silently in her heart, and then she formed a seal with one hand. Tsukumo was alert and had prepared countermeasures. White Fang Lu Mikazuki Slash. Tsukumo quickly swung his sword, and a huge crescent-shaped slash flew towards him. The Sharingan under Makoto's mask flashed a red light and continued to form seals without evading. The slash flew towards Makoto, then flew away from the side close to her body. Cut off target. For the first time, Tsukumo's face showed a look of shock. As a speed ninja who uses swordsmanship, he has absolute confidence in his attacks and will never miss the mark. Tsukumo figured it out instantly. Is it an illusion? An illusion that works on me silently. But Makoto didn't have time to pay attention to Tsukumo's expression. The seal on her left hand ended, and she placed her hand on the scroll that sealed Kato-dan's body. Reverse summoning technique. The scroll in her hand turned into a plume of white smoke and was sent to Raichi Cave through the reverse summoning technique. In this way, the mission assigned by Orochimaru-sama will be completed. Makoto breathed a sigh of relief. For her, death is not something to be afraid of. The only thing she cannot forgive is her inability to complete the task assigned by Orochimaru-sama. Orochimaru-sama's mission is the highest priority. The meaning of life is only to serve Orochimaru-sama. Seeing Kato Dan's body being sent away, Tsukumo gritted his teeth, a cold murderous intent flashing in his eyes. Uchiha, who sent you here? He could no longer convince himself that the ninja in front of him was being hunted by Sand Shinobi. Yes, that family is the only one with illusions that can make you miss. White Fang Liu Moonlight Slash. Tsukumo swung out the chakra condensed on the White Fang short sword, and a slash like a white crescent came. With Tsukumo on guard, the genjutsu will naturally not be able to work again. Sharingan tells Makoto that this blow is inevitable. As a last resort, she raised the ninja sword in her hand and injected lightning-style chakra into the sword. Lightning-style Chidori blade. The fight with the white slash made Makoto's right hand tremble uncontrollably. The fierce wind pressure caused cracks in the mask on her face. Makoto gritted her teeth, and an unknown chakra spread from her neck to her whole body. Under the attire that covered his whole body, strange marks appeared on Makoto's body. Heaven's Curse Seal, State 1. The sudden surge of power was directly transmitted to the ninja sword in his hand. Makoto raised his ninja sword, and the white slash followed Makoto's movements and flew towards the sky. After doing all this, Makoto could feel that his right hand had faintly lost consciousness. At this time, the mask on Makoto's face also cracked under the wind pressure, revealing her pair of scarlet Sharingan. And a completely different appearance from Makoto. Tsukumo quickly searched his memory and found that he had never seen Uchiha with this appearance. He could guarantee that the girl in front of him was not disguised through transformation technique or disguise. It is impossible to deceive him, a ninja who has been engaged in assassination missions all year round, with something like disguise. She also has Orochimaru's cursed seal, which means she is a ninja of Konoha. Are they ninjas secretly trained by some forces? The Uchiha clan, or? Tsukumo narrowed his eyes slightly and breathed a sigh of relief. If it was really Uchiha Makoto, Orochimaru's disciple, he really didn't know what to do. If it were someone else, it would be easy, as long as they were arrested and tortured to obtain information. Eliminate facial expressions. One of the many forbidden techniques mastered by Orochimaru-sama. This is not a transformation technique, but a layer of skin tissue specially grown by Nanoyu in the laboratory for camouflage. There are no flaws at all. On this confidential mission, Makoto tried his best to avoid any details that might contact Orochimaru. For example, she has not used the snake ninjutsu and Raichi cave summoning beast taught by Orochimaru-sama so far. For example, she did not use the Kusanagi sword given to her by Orochimaru-sama, but just an excellent ninja sword that can transmit chakra. Another example is her disguised appearance now. Fire-style Phoenix Fire Technique. Makoto spit out a huge fireball continuously from his mouth, and then the fireball exploded and turned into countless fire rains flying towards Tsukumo. The attack trajectory was like the fruit of impatience. She then threw several shurikens and incorporated them into the fire style. Amity Flower Claw Red, a combination of Uchiha's unique shuriken throwing technique and fire style. Facing the rain of fire that filled the sky, Tsukumo narrowed his eyes slightly. He quickly swung the short sword, blocking the attacks of Impatience Claw Red one by one. Chang, chang, chang. Makoto naturally knew that such an attack would not be effective, and this was naturally just a feint prepared for his real attack. At this time her appearance changed again. Her originally tied-up hair suddenly spread out, her hair color turned blue-gray, and her skin turned light gray. Curse Seal Status 2. The Curse Seal, similar to Sage Mode in the original work, is actually the product of Jugo's research. Now, Jugo is not even a tadpole, and naturally has nothing to do with the Curse Seal that Orochimaru is currently developing. What Orochimaru is referencing is Raichi Cave's Sage Mode. Makoto faced the ground with one hand and held her left arm with her right hand. Dark thunder and lightning gathered in her left hand, and the dissipated energy made the surrounding air slightly distorted. Lightning-style Weeping Chidori. Makoto bent down slightly to reduce air resistance. Immediately afterwards, it turned into a jet of black lightning. A huge sense of crisis emerged in Tsukumo's heart. His intuition told him that this attack was definitely not comparable to the previous attacks. The secret of White Fang swordsmanship, white fangs. The white light on the Chunin sword in Tsukumo's hand became even brighter, and then he turned into a white lightning and stabbed in the direction of Makoto. This is the culmination of all his swordsmanship, and is the origin of the title White Fang. It is also his strongest blow. White lightning and black lightning collided in the air. The chakra energy generated by the collision turned into countless thunders and violently destroyed everything around it. Short Sword and Chidori are in a stalemate. Tsukumo let out another angry cry. Who are you? What is your purpose? Makoto's eyes narrowed slightly, feeling the power coming from his arm, and responded with a cold tone. It doesn't matter who I am. If you want to blame it on you for blocking Lord Danzo's path to Hokage. The intertwining and fusion of chakra finally turned into a violent burst of energy. The whole mountain was flattened. Tsukumo and Makoto each retreated to one side. Makoto, on the other hand, exited the cursed seal state and half knelt on the ground, covering his bleeding left arm. In the blow just now, her left arm had completely lost feeling. She had been working as Orochimaru's experimental assistant and knew that all the cells in her left arm were probably dead. But she still looked directly at Tsukumo, her eyes as calm as water. At this time, the white fang in Tsukumo's hand was still half broken, leaving only half of the knife. The hand he was holding the knife was trembling uncontrollably and was covered in blood. He looked at the broken knife in his hand with a shocked look on his face. The Uchiha woman's attack in front of her was actually on par with her own strongest attack. Tsukumo exhaled and put away the broken knife in his hand. The power of your attack is indeed beyond my expectation. Your strength is probably close to the level of the five shadows. But now you don't have the strength to move, right? Tsukumo looked at Makoto in the distance with cold eyes. Although his combat power mainly comes from his sword skills, it does not mean that he has no other means of fighting the enemy. Tsukumo's whole body's aura suddenly changed. The curse mark on his neck suddenly began to spread, and a cold chakra filled his already exhausted chakra. The curse seal of the earth. That's right, Tsukumo also has Orochimaru's earth curse seal planted on him. His command that was able to instantly kill the enemy just now also relied on this. Although he has absolute confidence in his own strength, he also has absolute trust in his companion Tsukumo. He will not refuse the power given by Orochimaru and is determined to use this power to protect his companions. After activating the power of the curse seal, his strength has even approached the existence of the third Hokage. Tsukumo, whose face was covered with black lines, used his other hand to take out a kunai from his ninja bag. He slowly walked towards Makoto, step by step, step by step. But Makoto no longer had the strength to move. She spent all her chakra and tried her best to throw Chidori, but they were all blocked by the man in front of her. Facing Tsukumo, who had activated the curse seal at this time, Makoto was no match even in his prime. I originally wanted to rely on my own strength to avenge the lost companions, but I didn't expect that I would need to rely on Orochimaru's curse seal after all. To be so embarrassed by a little girl, it seems that my training is not enough. But that's as far as you're going. But at this moment, Tsukumo suddenly raised his head and looked in one direction. It's here. This movement must be caused by those Konoha shinobi. Tsukumo frowned. Did the noise of the battle attract Sand Shinobi's attention? It seems there is no way to bring you back to Konoha for interrogation. Danzo, although I don't know who you are, I remember this name. With that said, Tsukumo threw out the kunai in his hand, and the kunai carried the lightning and flew towards Makoto's direction. After doing all this, Tsukumo used the body flicker technique and left without looking back. He was confident that no one could save Makoto from this situation. Finished. Makoto looked at the white light getting closer and closer and closed his eyes. She gently bit her tongue with her teeth, where there was a technique prepared in advance. As long as it is activated, it can destroy your own brain and memory with the curse seal in an instant, preventing any information related to Orochimaru-sama from being leaked. But just as she was about to bite it, she felt a pair of hands pinch her face, preventing her from moving. And the pain that he imagined when the kunai pierced his heart did not come. You can't die yet. A hoarse voice interrupted her confusion. Makoto opened his eyes in surprise. It was the man with snake eyes who pinched himself with one hand and received the kunai attack for himself with the other hand. Around him, the bodies of several Sand Shinobi ninjas were soaked in blood. Under the sunlight, Orochimaru's figure looks like a god. Lord Orochimaru, why are you here? Orochimaru stared at Makoto for a long time. If I weren't here, you would have died at the hands of Tsukumo or Sand Shinobi. But Makoto showed no fear and just answered with a firm gaze. As long as I can get what Orochimaru-sama wants. Even if I die, I won't hesitate. Also, even though he clearly has the curse seal of heaven, which Sir Orochimaru values the most, he lost to the curse seal of earth. I feel ashamed of my trust in Sir Orochimaru. Orochimaru was silent for a moment, then took off Makoto's facial mask, revealing the girl's original beautiful face. He looked at Makoto with his golden eyes, or to be precise, Makoto's Sharingan that had not yet been closed. The three Magatama lay quietly in Makoto's eyes. There was no way Makoto could beat Tsukumo. That guy's strength is much stronger than Tsunade Jiraiya. It is estimated that only Sarutobi Hiruzen and him in Konoha can beat Tsukumo. Even if you want to defeat and kill him through conventional means, you will have to spend a lot of effort. But Orochimaru naturally would not intentionally let his subordinates die meaninglessly. Although he never cared about the death of his subordinates, Makoto was special. She is from the Uchiha clan that he particularly likes, and is Orochimaru's important experimental assistant. Orochimaru has been watching the battle for a long time. If Tsukumo planned to kill Makoto, he would naturally stop it. Using his own hidden lightning style armor, explosion style, Sharingan, wood style, and other means, it is not difficult to kill a Konoha's White Fang instantly. He mainly wanted to see if Makoto could awaken the legendary eyes between life and death. Her Sharingan has been promoted to Sanmagatama for several years, and her eye power is several times stronger than that of another Uchiha Fugaku, who is called a genius by the Uchiha clan. It seems that Makoto has not awakened Mangekyo's talent after all. In other words, in Makoto's eyes, death is not a stimulus enough to awaken Mangekyo, and her own life does not have enough weight in her heart to awaken Mangekyo. Maybe, only when Orochimaru died in front of Makoto's eyes would her spirit reach that point of verge of madness, right? But death is absolutely impossible for Orochimaru. The result seems to be a pity. But since there is no such fate, Orochimaru will not force it too much. You are also important to me. Everything about you belongs to me, your body, your eyes, your life, everything about you. You are my chosen backup body. The curse mark on your body contains my spirit. After my physical body dies, you will become the continuation of my life. Your life is my life. So, you can't die yet. Orochimaru's hoarse words touched Makoto's heart slightly, and Makoto suddenly became excited. But, I can't tolerate myself not being able to help Orochimaru-sama. Orochimaru looked at the excited Makoto. Orochimaru gently stroked Makoto's cheek and stared at her delicate, doll-like face. He could feel the girl's hesitation and loss. What Makoto fears is that he fails to complete Orochimaru's mission and loses value and is abandoned by Orochimaru. Orochimaru has always regarded Makoto and the others as tools, but for Makoto and the others, Orochimaru is the only one in their lives. They regard Orochimaru as the meaning of survival. I am happy for Orochimaru's little praise, feel honored that I was chosen as the container, and work hard towards Orochimaru's perfect container. Orochimaru suddenly felt the few emotions that were part of human nature in his body. They were the few emotions he had been baptized by for many years and represented his different self from the original Orochimaru. Orochimaru's eyes slowly softened and became less aggressive. If you can't find your own value, let me give you another meaning of existence. Raichi Cave. This is a secret place at the end of the world. This place is far away from the ninja world, and neither spies nor assassins can reach it without the permission of Orochimaru, the only contractor of Raichi Cave. Orochimaru also has his own laboratory here. There are many ways to rehabilitate your arm. For example, Senju Hashirama's Sage Body, Tsunade-san's Hyakuo technique, and Orochimaru-sama's medical forbidden technique, physical regeneration. Of course you can also use artificial human technology or scientific ninja tools. I recommend using cells from Senju Hashirama, because according to our previous experimental results, there is a subtle connection between Uchiha and Senju chakra. The combination of the two is likely to greatly enhance your pupil power. Nanoyu, who tied his beige hair into a ponytail, pushed up his round glasses and said to Makoto, who was lying on the experimental table. I want to use Orochimaru-sama's body regeneration technique. Makoto answered without hesitation. Although I would choose to use body regeneration if you let me choose, do you really not think about it? No. Experimental subjects transplanted with Hashirama cells will show some of the characteristics of Senju Hashirama. I can't stand that kind of thing. Nunoyu glanced at Uchiha Makoto, whose face was slightly red, strangely. Makoto, didn't you care about these things before? Makoto coughed lightly. Orochimaru-sama doesn't like too many messy things in his body, and I, as Orochimaru-sama's container, will never go against any of Orochimaru-sama's will. Okay, then I respect your opinion. However, you do not have the ability to master the medical forbidden technique. You can only achieve physical regeneration by transplanting my or Orochimaru-sama's cells. Master Orochimaru can use high-level wood style, and he can also use the perfect sage mode that he developed himself. This is something that many Senju tribe members cannot do. His cells may have been transformed by natural energy and become full of vitality, with powers similar to Senju Hashirama. No Nayu thought for a moment. By the way, do you really not want to check your legs? I see that you don't walk very naturally. Makoto's face turned red when he heard this. No need. It's just a minor injury. It will heal in a few days. Nanoyu looked at Makoto strangely, but didn't pursue it. Okay, then how about going to Orochimaru-sama and order some cell tissue? Makoto's face became even redder. She lowered her head, as if she wanted to find a crack to bury herself, and could only make a small, imperceptible sound. I should have a lot of Orochimaru-sama's cells in my body now. On the other side, Orochimaru stood in front of a test bench. Placed in front of him were Kato Dan's corpse and a clone of Kouchimaru. Koshimaru, who was transplanted with Kato Dan's cells, successfully obtained Kato Dan's spiritualization technique. And Orochimaru himself can naturally connect to Orochimaru through the ability of teleportation to use the spiritualization technique. Although the forbidden technique of reading the memories of the dead is recorded in Konoha's sealed book, it is a ninjutsu derived from the heart-turning technique of the Yamanaka clan. Orochimaru has also learned this jutsu, but since he has such a convenient ability as teleporting distant shadows, why bother to learn ninjutsu through memory? The power to control the spirit body. What a wonderful forbidden technique. Orochimaru had an intoxicated expression on his face. Learn new ninjutsu, master all the secrets of the world, and become the ultimate being who knows everything. This has always been Orochimaru's direction and the driving force behind his pursuit of immortality, and it has never changed. The curse seal is to slowly transform the individuals chosen by me into suitable containers through my cells and souls. Living corpse reincarnation is the power that allows me to reincarnate or resurrect from the container through the curse seal. The functions it achieves can actually bring me close to immortality. But it's only close. As long as it has an ability like infinite Tsukuyomi that affects all ninjas in the ninja world at once, it can still kill me. And too many reincarnations will eventually cause damage to my soul, making eyesight skills like Sharingan my natural enemy. Even if they are vessels like Makoto and Nunoyu who do not reject my soul in any way, the reincarnation process will still wear away some of the fragments of my soul. What's more, the number of ninjas in Konoha who have my curse seal is close to 5 figures. It is impossible for me to separate so many soul fragments into these ninjas. This is also the reason why I have always only used this method as a backup method and never used it. Thinking about it, Orochimaru had a fanatical look on his face. And the spiritualization technique is the last piece of the puzzle for my immortality. The spiritualization technique is an extremely rare application of the spirit in the world of Hokage. It can transmit its own soul remotely, and the spirit body can also sense the souls of other people, so naturally there is no need to arrange the fragments of one's own soul on the container in advance. It can attack the soul, which can naturally completely destroy the remnants of the original soul in the container. The spiritualization technique has completely perfected the soul damage caused by cursed reincarnation. After your own death, you only need to use the spiritualization technique to transfer your soul into the body of the seal holder. And if he faced an attack on his soul, he could immediately activate a Izanagi sealed in his soul to turn this unfavorable situation into an illusion. Immediately after this, he will use another Sharingan to activate the second Izanagi. Within 1 minute of infinite resurrection, Orochimaru will immediately reincarnate the soul into other containers engraved with the curse through the spiritualization technique. Whether it is directly occupying the body or resurrecting from the curse seal, Orochimaru's life can continue. Now I just need to use the curse seal to transform everyone in the ninja world into suitable containers, store my chakra through the curse seal, and use the chakra to record my body data. Through the spiritualization technique and living corpse reincarnation, your wish for immortality can be realized. This immortal body has reached perfection. Become second only to Ten Tails Jinchuriki. Orochimaru's eyes sparkled with ambition. Whether it is Makoto or no, Orochimaru's most advanced heavenly curse seal is planted in their bodies, and they have been gradually transformed into containers suitable for Orochimaru's soul, but even they have always been only backup candidates for Orochimaru's reincarnation. As for first choice, not Uchiha Sasuke, not Uzumaki Naruto, and certainly not Nagato and Itachi, who are even inferior to them. Orochimaru's dream. Master various blood inheritance limits, Sharingan, Rinnegan, Byakugan, Wood Style, Dead Bone Pulse. There is even a blood succession snare in the ultimate form of the blood succession limit. The amount of chakra is enough to rival the entire ninja world. Immortal, immortal and immortal. Doesn't the ninja world originally have such individual existence? Even the skin is the same albino color as Orochimaru. The ancestor of chakra who was sealed on the moon by his own child. Otsutsuki Kagaya Haim. Experimental Data 01101. Name, Uchiha Makoto. Gender, female. Age, 18. Born in Konoha on June 1, 23. Height, 162.6 centimeters. Weight, 48.9 kilograms. Blood type, AB. Eye technique, Sharingan 3 Magatama. Physique, none. Chakra attributes, fire, water, thunder. Ninjutsu, 70. Physical skills, 60. Illusion, 100. Chakra, 60. Eye power, 600. Based on the average eye power of the 3 Magatama Jonin of the Uchiha clan is 100. Strength judgment, elite Jonin quasi-cage level. Summoning contract, Raichi Cave. Ability, fire style, Uchiha clan Shuriken Jutsu, Sharingan illusion. Heaven's curse seal. Makoto, here are the experimental data after your recovery. Still not awakened Mangekyo. Looking at the report Nanoyu handed him, Makoto sighed. Although I had expected it, I still felt a little regretful. She had never seen this legendary eye, but if Lord Orochimaru said it existed, she would definitely believe it. The eyes that Orochimaru-sama wanted, but she could never get them. Lord Orochimaru once said that he saw himself as a vessel, but he never took his body away. Perhaps only one who has awakened Mangekyo is qualified to be favored by Orochimaru-sama, right? Makoto thought so, so he worked hard to improve his eye power. She even almost killed her friend Uzumaki Kushina for this, but was stopped by Lord Orochimaru. In the words of Orochimaru-sama, I don't want my subordinates to become crazy like Uchiha Itachi or Uchiha Obito. Although she didn't know who Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Obito were, she searched the entire Uchiha family tree but couldn't find these two names. But since Orochimaru-sama doesn't want to see her like this, then she won't become something that Orochimaru-sama hates. According to Orochimaru-sama's arrangement, she embarked on the path of steadily improving her pupil power to awaken Mangekyo. But it's clear that, not being a reincarnation of the Six Paths family, Makoto didn't gain Mangekyo's abilities on his own. How can I gain the strength to stand by Orochimaru-sama without Mangekyo? As if sensing Makoto's loss, a voice suddenly sounded in Makoto's ears. Perhaps you could consider a real sage mode. You have experienced it, the power of the curse seal. That's a jutsu created by Orochimaru based on the Raichi Cave sage mode. As long as I bite you one more time. Makoto stepped away hastily and looked towards the source of the sound. A woman appeared beside him at some point. She had long black hair and wore a golden crown with a golden ball on top. Glancing at Nono, who suddenly fell asleep, Makoto felt cold sweat break out on his forehead. This woman actually approached him silently and hypnosis Nanoyu without him paying any attention. Doesn't that mean that if she wants to kill herself? Makoto just glanced at her and felt a strong sense of trance in his heart. But this trance was quickly broken by a magnetic voice. If you dare to attack my subordinates, I will kill you, Tien Shin Shenji. Orochimaru put one hand on the woman's shoulder, and put his face against her neck. What seemed like an intimate gesture turned out to be cold words without emotion. The woman quickly raised her hands. Orochimaru, you are still so unkind. Have you forgotten the friendship we had before when you captured us and cut us into pieces for study? When Orochimaru planned to learn Senjutsu, according to White Snake Sage, he had to pass the test of her 3 gods. White Snake Sage would use his own teeth to inject natural energy into those who passed. Those who succeeded learned Sage Mode, which is nothing more than withstanding the natural energy. The loser will turn into a snake and be eaten by her. But Orochimaru is not someone who just listens to what others say. He has always been the only one who bites others, but a stinky snake with 2 horns still wants to bite him. They were said to be immortals, but except for the White Snake Sage at the deepest level, which he could not see clearly, these 3 goddesses were just 3 very ordinary cage levels. Orochimaru knocked out the 3 goddesses with a backhand and packed them back to Konoha, laboratory research. He has his own ideas about learning Sage Mode. In the original novel, Orochimaru's true form turned into White Snake Sage, most likely because he turned into a snake as a side effect of failing to practice Raichi Cave. Therefore, Orochimaru believed in his own research more than giving his life to the unknown risk method of the White Snake Sennin. It just so happens that these immortals have extremely strong resilience and are simply excellent experimental materials. Thanks to the selfless efforts of the 3 of them, Orochimaru's research on Sage Mode went very smoothly. He completed the perfect Sage Mode without any trace, and developed a curse seal that imitated Sage Mode. Orochimaru licked the corner of his mouth and put his mouth to Tenshinji's ear. Haha, it seems you miss your old life very much. Would you like to experience it again? Haha, forget it then. Tien Shinji smiled awkwardly, and immediately disappeared in front of Makoto as if running away. Sage Mode, Makoto muttered to himself. Orochimaru glanced at Makoto and then looked away. The Land of Fire, Konohagakure. Orochimaru returns from Raichi Cave with Makoto and Nanoyu. Orochimaru has already set up a barrier at the entrance of the house. Orochimaru can immediately detect any movement in Raichi Cave. Tatsujinheim will immediately use the reverse summoning technique to bring Orochimaru back from Raichi Cave. She is also one of the 3 goddess of Raichi Cave, with long brown hair and 3 tomo-shaped ornaments on her chest. Lord Orochimaru, I'll go back first. Ask me if you have anything else to do. Tuanjinji smiled tenderly, and then disappeared into a wisp of white smoke. Is that woman also an immortal? Makoto looked at the position where Tsukihime had left, thoughtfully. Orochimaru glanced at Makoto but said nothing. There was a knock on the door of the house. A voice came from outside the door. Lord Orochimaru, Hitaki Jonin is back. I see. When Orochimaru and Makoto pushed open the door of the conference room, Tsukumo, Tsunade, and Jiraiya were already waiting here. Among them, Tsukumo's vest was covered in scars and his right hand was wrapped in a bandage. It can be seen that after fighting Makoto, he also had several conflicts with the ninjas that Sand Shinobi was chasing. Makoto looked at Tsukumo and clenched his fists unwillingly after seeing that he only had a few wraps of bandages. This flash of hostility was immediately caught by Tsukumo, and he looked in Makoto's direction. To be precise, it's Makoto's left hand. After seeing that her left hand was intact, Tsukumo finally felt relieved. Under his attack, the cells in the enemy's left hand were absolutely completely necrotic. Even Tsunade-sama's medical ninjutsu couldn't completely recover from such an injury so quickly. It seemed that he had indeed misunderstood Orochimaru, and Dan's death had nothing to do with Orochimaru. That's the man named Danzo. Speaking of which, it seems that third-generation Sama did have a teammate named Danzo. Tsukumo quickly stopped thinking. All the Jonin present were here, except for the killed Kato Dan and Mumu Kodo. During the process of performing the spiritualization technique, the positions of Kato Dan and Mumu Gongdao were exposed and killed by the enemy. Tsukumo didn't tell the news about the Uchiha ninja rashly. After all, he is not yet sure whether the enemy is related to the people present, and bringing this information out at this time will only lead to suspicion among the Konoha shinobi, which will do no good to the war situation. Did Dan Senpai be killed by Sand Shinobi? What a pity. I originally thought that with his spiritual technique, he would one day become famous like Sanin and White Fang. Maybe it's because I didn't accept the Earth Curse Seal from Orochimaru-sama. If I had used the power of the Curse Seal, I would not have died so easily. The Jonin all expressed their regrets, but also their understanding. After all, on the battlefield, even Hokage can't say that he will not die unexpectedly. Not all Konoha shinobi bear Orochimaru's Curse Seal. Ninjas like Sarutobi Hiruzen, Shimura Danzo, and Kato Dan, who are very confident in their own strength, like Nawaki, believe that they do not need the power of the Curse Seal. Jiraiya is able to learn Sage Mode directly through Mount Myoboku without the need for a Curse Seal. It is because of the sacrifices of ninjas like them that we can firmly take the initiative on the battlefield and protect our relatives and children in the village. Tsunade also expressed some emotion. Orochimaru turned his attention to Tsunade. Noticing Orochimaru's gaze, Tsunade turned to look at him with some confusion. It seems that Tsunade in this world has almost no intersection with Kato Dan. For his sacrifice, Tsunade's momentary emotion was just a sigh of the cruelty of war. Then what happened? Commander of Sand Shinobi. Without paying too much attention to the details of Kato Dan's death, Sarutobi Hiruzen cast his sharp eyes straight at Tsukumo. Orochimaru also looked at him slightly thoughtfully. Tsukumo looked at Orochimaru's gaze and suddenly felt the hairs on his body rising, but then the feeling disappeared again. Is it an illusion? He muttered in his mind. I successfully completed the beheading mission. Akasha and his wife are dead. I believe the war will be over soon. Hehe. Orochimaru suddenly smiled, a slightly sarcastic look on his face. Tsukumo, my subordinates have collected some information. I wonder if you are interested. Akasa and his wife are the son and daughter-in-law of Sunagakur Elder Sunagakur Chiyo. Your action of killing Akisa and his wife is likely to be the beginning of a full-scale war. Orochimaru admired the surprised look on Tsukumo's face and felt a little pleasure. Presumably, that old guy must have gone completely crazy now. I wonder what choice Sunagakur will make when facing Konoha, which is absolutely impossible to defeat. Sunagakur, the Casecage's office. I will use my puppet team to sweep across Konoha to avenge my dead son and daughter-in-law. Chiyo yelled madly at Third Casecage, her eyes red. After decades of war, she thought she had taken death lightly, but when it actually fell on her loved ones, the heartache was something she simply couldn't bear. She seemed to see the young Shie asking her when her parents would return, and she felt heartbroken for a moment. Chiyo, calm down. Konoha now possesses unknown power, and our Sand Shinobi cannot be our opponent. Third Casecage couldn't help but scolded. But the crazy look on Chiyo's face did not diminish at all. I'm calm now. If I didn't calm down, I would have rushed into Konoha and cut White Fang into pieces. If Konoha's cursed seal makes you afraid, then we can find a way to let the ninjas of Sand Shinobi get it too. Or are you, the strongest Casecage, going to surrender on your knees to the Konoha Shinobi and beg them to let Sunagakur live? As he said that, the corners of Chiyo's eyes turned slightly red. This is my sister's only child. Ebizo closed his eyes and simply said this. Third Casecage was silent. He seemed to see the scene again on the battlefield where the Konoha Shinobi were invincible and killed the Sand Shinobi ninja army wantonly after the cursed seal state was turned on. With the blessing of the cursed seal, Konoha's genin can exert the combat power of Chunin, and Chunin can exert combat power close to that of Jonin. A Jonin army with the cursed seal activated can even make him, the Casecage, feel a little tricky. If it weren't for Rain Shinobi Village sharing Konoha's military strength, Sand Shinobi might have been defeated long ago. But Rain Shinobi Village has been destroyed, and if no countermeasures are taken, Sunagakur will definitely fail. After thinking for a long time, Third Casecage slowly spoke. Although I don't completely agree with Elder Chiyo's opinion. But there is something Elder Chiyo said that makes sense. We must get information about the cursed seal. It has been suppressed by Konoha for a long time, and its sphere of influence in the Rain country was directly taken over by Konoha. Perhaps it's time for us to counterattack. But these actions must be done after we can successfully crack Konoha's secret technique. As he flipped through Orochimaru's information on the table, a light suddenly burst out in his eyes. Are there two female ninjas named Hyakura and Garura in the new generation? Call them here. I have a special mission for them. Konoha Village. Two girls with green hair and brown hair were walking on the streets of Konoha. Hagura and Garura took off their ninja costumes and forehead protectors and put on normal clothes. Not long ago, they successfully infiltrated Konoha at the cost of the lives of several spies placed by Sand Shinobi in Konoha. No matter what method is used, we must get information about the curse seal of heaven and earth from Orochimaru. As spies and intelligence agents, female ninjas with outstanding looks have natural advantages. Therefore, Lord Third Casecage personally assigned this special task to them. For the first time since the Second Ninja War, Yi Kang felt a little awkward as he took off his genin clothes and put on clothes that were not suitable for fighting. But after all, it was an extremely important special task related to the direction of the war, and Yi Kang forced himself to accept it. She struggled to recall the information about Orochimaru, trying to find its shortcomings. Ninjutsu, taijutsu, and genjutsu, Orochimaru is at the top of the ninja world. He is very knowledgeable about poisons and once worked with Tsunade to crack the toxin of Sanshou fish. He is a super intelligent man. As the commander-in-chief of the war, he made many calculations against Rain Shinobi Village's troops during the war and succeeded, causing the Rain Shinobi Village ninjas to suffer heavy losses. Cruel and cruel, Orochimaru fought wars with the goal of destroying the country, whether it was Sora Ninja Village or Rain Shinobi Village, and even earned the title of Wind of Disaster for this reason. Moreover, this person is extremely calm and has never seen a moment of excessive emotional fluctuations. He can always make the right decision calmly no matter what situation he faces. However, Hayakura did not find any loopholes in Orochimaru from the information given to her by Lord Third Casecage. The only thing that is slightly useful is probably the relationship between Orochimaru and Tsunade, who often stays up all night at the Senju mansion. And Orochimaru has a very close relationship with his two female disciples, which is vaguely beyond the level of master and disciple. Even since becoming Orochimaru's disciples, Makoto and Nanoyu have lived directly with Orochimaru. Orochimaru is not a cold ninja who has no interest in women. Hagura sighed slightly as he came to a conclusion similar to that of the Third Casecage. It seems like this is the only way to go. As ninjas, and Sunagaku ninjas with extremely limited resources, they had already prepared that one day they would need to rely on their bodies to obtain information, but they didn't expect that day to come so quickly. However, we have no way of contacting Orochimaru. As a figure at the core of Konoha Village's power, Orochimaru is not accessible to ordinary people. Garuru analysis. We have to find a way to get to Orochimaru, otherwise it won't work no matter what. Suddenly, a white-haired figure with a lewd expression lying on the window in the distance caught their attention. Yakura and Garura couldn't help but look at each other. Lord Orochimaru, thank you for making an exception and allowing Guy to enter the Ninja Academy. Guy and I will never forget your kindness. Seeing the two men in green tights hugging each other with tears streaming down their faces, Orochimaru also felt slightly ashamed. They are naturally Dai and Guy's father and son. Not long ago, 4-year-old Guy failed the entrance exam for the Ninja Academy. It was Orochimaru who mentioned Guy to Third Hokage that gave him a chance to make up the exam. But in the face of Might Day's exaggerated behavior, to be honest, even a person like Orochimaru couldn't handle it. Feeling Orochimaru's attention, Makoto looked at Guy nervously, stared for a moment, and then felt relieved. Guy's image is reassuring. Both the original Orochimaru and the current Orochimaru have a little bit of facial control. In addition to talent, the choice of container also has appearance requirements. The difference is that the original Orochimaru is male or female. Orochimaru's orientation is somewhat normal. It doesn't matter, if you can learn a technique like 8 inner gates, no matter whether you are a genius or not, your efforts should not be buried. Orochimaru smiled in response. Although he is slightly ashamed of their aesthetics, Orochimaru does not hate such characters. In fact, unlike Guy, who is a genius in physical arts, Might even has poor physical talent. Day's physical strength was not even comparable to that of Guy when he was a child. When he later opened the 8 inner gates, he was unable to defeat all the 7 ninja swordsmen. He is truly an ordinary human being without any talent. What really made him the best in the ninja world in terms of physical skills and how he used his life to shine with his own light was the decades of daily training. This is youth. As Orochimaru sent Dai away, Might Dai shouted that he could not live up to Orochimaru's expectations, and pulled Guy to start another day of exercise. Two green figures, one big and one small, were running wildly on the street. Hey, Orochimaru, you're here. At this moment, Jiraiya with a bruised and swollen face came towards him. He looked at Might Day's back and couldn't help but sigh. Is that Dai? I never thought you would actually mention entrusting him with an important responsibility to the old man. Yes, Orochimaru introduced Might Dai to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen naturally did not agree to give a higher appointment to a genin, but after Orochimaru asked Might Dai to show Sarutobi Hiruzen the 8 inner gates, he began to seriously consider Orochimaru's proposal. In terms of physical skills alone, Dai Dan, who can now open the 6th gate, has reached the threshold of shadow. However, it is still impossible for him to serve as a jonin. Without ninjutsu and genjutsu, he can easily be plotted in the ninja world full of intrigues. Nor is he smart enough to be the leader of a first team. Orochimaru recommended the position of Konoha Taijutsu instructor. In return for helping this hot-blooded idiot, he gave Orochimaru the method of using the 8 inner gates that he had learned over 20 years. For this technique, Orochimaru naturally studied it seriously with the highest attention at the first time. In fact, compared with Tobirama's forbidden technique, the principle of 8 inner gates can be said to be very simple. It is nothing more than tempering the body to the point where it can release the limitations of the body. I'll perfect this physical technique when I have free time. I wonder if the price of the 8 inner gates and the physical transformation can be combined to realize the door of death without a price. Thinking about it, Orochimaru looked at Jiraiya. What do you want from me? Now is my rare rest time during the war. From the looks of it, you were caught peeping into the women's bathhouse again. Hearing Orochimaru's question, Jiraiya's face fell, and he turned to look envious. I'm not looking for you, they are looking for you. Only then did Orochimaru notice the 2 girls following Jiraiya. The 2 of them were no more than Makoto's age. One of the girls has long green hair with orange hair on the temples. The other person has short sandy brown hair. When 2 beautiful girls suddenly came up to ask for directions, Jiraiya thought that his spring had finally come. As a result, their completely unsubdued voices immediately revealed that he was peeping into the women's bathhouse. After finally surviving from those aunts, he found the 2 girls again. After having a serious conversation, I found out that they were indeed little fans of Orochimaru who were trying to get close to Orochimaru through him. Why do you say, sure enough? It turns out that even I have no confidence in my own charm. Jiraiya suddenly felt a touch of sadness. Behind him, Yi Kang's eyes flickered. When the 2 of them were thinking about how to contact Orochimaru, they happened to find the guy hiding outside the Konoha bathhouse and peeping. Naturally, they recognized Jiraiya's identity at a glance. Jiraiya is the weakest link in Sannin. He has not accepted Orochimaru's curse seal and has not yet learned Sage Mode. His strength is even inferior to Tsunade, who started out as a medical ninja. As a civilian, he did not have any blood inheritance limit. He was not outstanding in talent and did not learn many ninjutsu from his teacher. Only his summoning technique can be considered outstanding. Stupid, naive, idealistic, irrational, emotional, lustful, defenseless against outsiders, and full of loopholes. All the shortcomings that can be found in a ninja can be found in Jiraiya. Compared to his 2 teammates, Jiraiya is the one least likely to become a Hokage. What a disgrace to Sannin. Yi Kang silently recalled the information about Jiraiya and came to this conclusion. Jiraiya pulled Orochimaru aside. Orochimaru, when did you meet these 2 girls? In the past, the most Orochimaru fans could do was write explicit love letters. If there were any in their love letters, they were copied from Jiraiya's works. There are actually very few people who really dare to pursue Orochimaru head-on. After all, if you want to pursue Orochimaru head-on, Tsunade will always be a mountain that cannot be bypassed. If Tsunade was really beaten, and this Princess Katsuyu punched her, she would probably have to spend the rest of her life in Konoha Hospital if she was lucky. Lord Orochimaru is the hero who created the curse seal and led Konoha to victory. I think every girl in Konoha will inevitably have some illusions about Lord Orochimaru, right? As he said this, Yi Kang's face turned red, like a girl who was yearning for spring. She hugged one of Orochimaru's arms and pressed her body against Orochimaru's arm. Such a scene directly caused 100,000 critical hits to Jiraiya. Even Gararu didn't expect that her companion would be so bold, but thinking that her actions would be directly related to the war between the two countries, she took Orochimaru's other arm. We sisters have admired Orochimaru-sama for a long time. I wonder if we can have a chance to have dinner with Orochimaru. Makoto's eyes were a little dangerous, and her intuition told her that these two people had an ulterior motive. But seeing that Orochimaru didn't seem to care, he didn't take action. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.